Hey Ludo, I've not been hiding. I've just been behind this rock playing a bit of Path of Exile 2. Yeah, I've fallen kind of deep into it, but I constantly feel like all of its gameplay systems hate me, and I kind of love that. Well, let me explain. Now, right out the gate, before we get into the hate, what is Path of Exile 2? Well, it's an ARPG akin to Diablo, and some of you might have not have played it yet because it's in early access, which I wouldn't usually touch either, but I was looking for something to sink my teeth into over the holiday break, and I ended up sinking them so deep that I came back with nothing but gums and a newfound appreciation for gambling and masochism. Now, the hardest part about creating this episode has been narrowing down the scope because there is so much design to this game that I absolutely adore. You know me, I love a good time-bending twists and turns narrative, but at heart, I'm a mechanics man, and man, does this have mechanics, darling. First of all, and most famously, the amount of customization you have after selecting a class is something that I've never seen before in an RPG. Not only can you use different weapon specs on any of the classes, you could actually have multiple friends all pick the exact same class and each play them in a completely unique way. Now, there is a price to pay for the ability to do this. Oh, yeah, IRL psychic damage. Now, this skill tree might seem intimidating at first, because it is, but the trick is to realize that you are looking at all of the selectable passives for all of the classes all at once. The monk, for example, starts here and generally will path in this direction, but you could do this, or this, or this if you're nasty. Oh, you've got a problem with the game? Not doing enough damage or dying too quickly? Well, simply blaming the devs has gone out the fucking window because it is all solvable within this passive tree with some ingenuity and experimentation. The possibilities are practically endless, and I could make an entire episode discussing this alone, but today I wanted to focus on another one of my favourite aspects of this game, which would be how its crafting system hates you. Now, when you usually think of the crafting systems, what do you picture? Yeah, you add one thing to another to output another. You know exactly what you need to aim for and what you're going to get out of that process. The outcome is completely static, and there's a lot of value in this. PoE2's crafting system on face value looks incredibly similar to this. As you venture through the game, defeated monsters will drop equipable gear, of course, but also crafting materials at the same time, which are different types of orbs. Once an item drops that you want to upgrade, you can use a variety of these orbs to increase an item's rarity, stats, and passives upon it. It kind of looks like this. First, you use an orb of transmutation to turn an item from normal quality to magic, then an orb of augmentation to add a new random modifier onto it, then a regal orb to take it from magic to rare quality, and then a handful of exalted orbs to give it more passives to round it out. Now, why did I just feel the need to walk us through that step by step? Well, because that same orb upgrade system used to take your chess piece from sheesh to chic can also be used on everything: weapons, jewelry, the environmental challenges you find out in the open world to make them even more challenging and boost the rewards they give. It all stems from this base upgrade system built around the collectible orbs you find as you play, but it gets even crazier. There are a whole host of different ways to further manipulate your loot by using things like Val orbs or orbs of chance to corrupt them, giving them a chance to gain more sockets, increase or decrease their stats, or maybe, just maybe, bricking them and making them useless, or outright deleting them from existence. Because you don't outright have control over what you get when you use this system. You could make the most perfect item of your dreams, or make something completely useless at the same time. Now the question is, why would you want a system like this? Why would you want so much randomness and the possibility of wasting all of your hard-earned resources compared to just collecting what you need and making what you want in a simpler system? Well, it all comes down to friction. What do I mean? Well, gameplay friction is really what makes games tick. You can take something incredibly mundane, and by adding a tiny amount of friction to that system to push against the player, you can make it way more engaging. For example, Sea of Thieves. If you were tasked with moving towards a point of interest on your map, if you could just raise the anchor, hoist the sails, and turn your ship in that direction and just beeline it to that destination, it would require minimal engagement and be kinda boring. So instead, the devs add some friction. The ocean constantly shifting so the helmsman needs to correct course. The ever-changing winds require the riggers to adjust on the fly to maintain speed. Now add dynamic nautical events, weather and other pesky player pirates all pushing against you all at once. These systems collectively are demanding the engagement of the entire crew all of the time, taking something as mundane as simply going from A to B and adding some of that spice. Right now, I'm talking directly to you, person on the other side of this screen. Think of your favorite game and think of all of the ways its systems apply friction to make them more engaging. Exactly. What an amazing example, Keith. Anyway, this might be great for most games, but not everyone wants high-octane frictional gameplay. Some people just want to relax when they play. Yeah, like Animal Crossing. No, not Animal Crossing. Are you fucking kidding me, Ludo? Animal Crossing is one of the most friction-filled games I've ever seen. Every single one of its systems is pushing against you. Oh, you want to make your little house and pick some plants? Nah, mate, farm crops to sell for pennies, wait IRL days on end to unlock what you want to, and pay your debts to the collectors, you absolute pond scum. But again, this is a good thing. Pushing against the players keeps them engaged, requiring them to find unique ways to overcome that friction to then eventually feel delayed gratification for doing so. Like, nothing feels better than getting a rash from all that friction and then slapping some ointment on that bitch. But it's all about balancing for what your target audience wants. You want to rub up against your players just enough so they feel alive, and boy, do I feel alive when I play PoE 2. Every single aspect of it is augmented with friction, from its combat all the way to its crafting, but the key feature of this crafting system that creates friction is its randomness, and on face value, where is the fun in a system just being random? Well, the devs slowly trickle in ways for their players to push back against and eventually obtain mastery over that randomness as they progress throughout the game. Because as a new player, getting gear that is entirely random is an interesting experience, not just drop from a loot table random, but always having the potential to randomly roll into any combination of mods from any base. In most looter games, mainly MMOs, the randomness of it is just a chance to get the thing you want within a pool of completely different, incomparable things. You want the boots, but the enemy might drop the helmet, or the chest, or a consumable, or some trash, or nothing at all. It might drop multiple boots, but the potentials are finite and relatively few. You're fishing for the exact thing you want. In PoE 2, because the odds of the exact piece of gear you're looking for just randomly dropping are so minuscule, it's not even worth considering. Instead, any basic item you find could feasibly become a piece of endgame gear, with the exception of the item level boundaries for mods. So because of this, looting currencies is everything, because the game leans so heavily on its crafting system as the main way you gain gear. It's a simple system at first, but as you delve deeper into the game, you stumble upon more exotic and rare currencies that are immensely confusing. Their purpose isn't clear, and I believe that's on purpose. Because as you experiment with them, you discover niche techniques that can situationally and subtly change the crafting outcome in predictable ways. Used in the right order and in the right way, various tools and techniques will let you reliably make something of a good quality. Essences, omens, desecrations, etc. are all just tricks of the trade that require some experimentation or education to learn how to use them properly. Creating the precise item you want is only possible with the combination of very confusing, very specific, and very not good on their own currencies, and to me, that works brilliantly. The end result is that you can only get good at it by tinkering away and experimenting like a mad scientist, which is incredibly rewarding. Because you're taking something random and unforgiving and bending it to your will, while still being able to luck into things, which is just the same as some item randomly dropping in another system. You get the best of both worlds here. And this form of education about how all of these currencies work slowly happens as you play. You could have an entire horde of specific currencies you didn't truly understand the use of, so you just dump them in your stash and then slowly uncover their purpose, and have this eureka moment about how valuable some of these things are, and in turn provides new value for doing the content that rewarded them. Which is really interesting to me. Path of Exile 2 does this neat trick where it only really has one thing for players to do, but has enough illusion of variety that it makes it feel as though you have lots of choice. Oh, I can do voids, rituals, temples, logbooks or realm gates, but if you boil it down, it's just blowing up enemies and bosses in a corridor. It's the unique rewards given while doing each of these pieces of content that augments your ability to craft new gear, which in turn allows you to more efficiently blow shit up. And the crafting system allowing you to get to this level of blow up is the thing that makes it so addictive, because you can't get to this level unless you get extremely lucky or spend a bunch of currency to buy the correct items you need from the auction house. And that's another aspect of this augmented randomness. No matter how far you push it or how many currencies you use, the final outcome is still mostly up to lady luck. Because let's not sugarcoat it, mate. This is gambling. People dedicate their entire careers to learning how to have the best odds to make god tier items that they can then sell on the in-game marketplace for more currency so they can make more items to sell for more orbs. It's addictive because of the gamble, and I don't see any harm in that. Throughout the game, you accrue enough of all of these currencies to make that gambling less of a risk and more of a reward when you hit a great combination of stats that you desired or someone else desired. It takes every basic drop from a disappointment because it's not the thing you wanted to excitement for what it could become. When you first start playing, this crafting system seems like it doesn't care whether it bricks or deletes the thing you were trying to craft, but as you progress and gain knowledge, your mastery over this system grows, leading to tighter and tighter odds of success, which allows you to become brokenly powerful because of your ingenuity, which is an incredibly rewarding journey to go on, and I honestly think this might be one of the greatest crafting systems ever made. But what do you think? What game do you think has the best crafting system? And if it's better than this, why? And what other systems in games have so much friction that it feels like they hate you, but you kinda love it? Let us know down below, because we'd love to discuss this with you. Alright, wake up, pup. Yeah, it's time to say goodbye. Okay. Alright, bye guys.